My name's David. I was born into a Catholic family, not a strict Catholic family, but we went to church every Sunday. My father had been brought up in the church. He was a choir boy when he was a young man. I went to a Catholic primary school, which I really loved, terrific school. And we went to church every Sunday. I went to a Catholic secondary school. I would read the lesson in church on a Sunday morning when we had Mass. And I was an altar boy when I was at school, although that was mainly because it allowed me to sneak out early when Mass was finished. I knew from a very early age that I was different. Like a lot of gay, lesbian, bi people, you just know that you don't fit in. Even as a 5, 6-year-old, you know there's something different about you. All my best friends when I was at primary school were girls. Made it very difficult when I went to secondary school, and I was at an all-boys Catholic secondary school with all male teachers. And I was about 13 or 12 or 13 when there was a film screened on British TV called The Naked Civil Servant, a very famous film about Quentin Crisp, and they started talking a lot about homosexuality and gay men, and I remember reading about this and thinking, that's me. And that was the first point I had a label for myself. I didn't feel any sense of conflict, strangely enough. I think because my father had raised me and my brother to be quite independent thinkers, and my conclusion was that I had a relationship with God, and God wouldn't make me a bad person, so if God had made me gay, then it must be okay to be gay. I told my best friend at school when I was 15 that I was gay, and he was very strange about it. He accepted it, he didn't treat me any differently, but he didn't want to talk about it with me. And it was odd because we talked about everything. And I was very unhappy at my secondary school. As I say, I didn't really fit into that all-male environment, so I left when I was 16. My friend went into the 6th form, and within his first year in the 6th form, he tried to kill himself. And he became very withdrawn. I lost contact with him, and it wasn't until our 21st birthday, we were both turned 21 within a kind of a week or two of each other. He wrote me a long letter and told me that I wasn't the only one who was gay, that he was gay as well. He had struggled with it enormously, and there was so much conflict for him. That was what had made him want to try and take his life when he was 17. And that was the point I started to feel that religion was a damaging force for people, and I lost my faith, and I became quite I guess the term I would use when I was in my 20s was probably quite a militant atheist. I've come to the conclusion that religion is intrinsic to human life. People get a lot of comfort from religion throughout their lives, and I think for me now the important thing is that religions understand there are huge numbers of lesbian, gay, bi people within their communities, and they need to adapt. They need to be able to welcome the LGBT community in there. I've met so many people who are religious people, who are people of faith, who are not LGBT themselves, but they are fighting to change attitudes within their churches, within their communities. And they are standing up and saying, we need to make our religious community a welcoming place for LGBT people. It might be that they have friends who are gay, they might have a nephew or a niece who's just come out as a young person, and I think it changes their idea of what matters. And so I would actually say to anybody who is a student here who has a faith themselves, try and talk to the people who are in your faith about these issues. The more we talk about them, the less fearful they become.